Today we are going to be reacting to your biggest Fortnite hot takes. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with many YouTube channels. We're going to get straight into it for today, guys. I posted this over on X. What is your biggest Fortnite hot take? I want to make a video out of the replies. Please like and share, and you guys did not disappoint. Thank you very much to everybody who replied. Also, drop a hot take in the comment section of this video because I want to make a part 2 to this, and I will be using the replies in the comment section down below. Thank you very much to everybody who participated, and for those of you watching this video, your time is very valuable. Let's get into the hot takes for today. Cyan posted this: Fortnite should have stayed a game, not a platform, and instead focus on adding a PvE story-focused mode, a better competitive structure, more map changes weekly like back then, a team deathmatch mode COD-like, no more, way better than this metaverse. I understand where you're coming from, and I understand completely, why people would want people to stay, or Fortnite to stay a game and not a platform, but ultimately I do disagree with it. I think Fortnite is in an incredibly healthy state right now, and it's only been getting better, and with all of the modes coming right now, all of the updates that we've been getting, BR still being alive and well, we just need a little bit of a boost on that storyline. I love the state of Fortnite right now. Let's continue on to what Evolved Jake had to say. The metaverse is not killing Battle Royale. Chapter 5 was my least favorite chapter, but there was actually a lot of updates and a consistent flow of content, so I didn't think BR was ignored at all. Not enjoying the content doesn't mean they didn't try. Late December into January, it was pretty stale, but aside from that, they did a good job in terms of putting content out. I agree with that. Besides the late December part, I still really enjoyed the game in the state that it's in right now. Chapter 6 has been doing great, but he's exactly right. The metaverse is not killing Battle Royale, and I even agree to the point where Chapter 5 was my least favorite chapter, but there still were good things about it. I thought that was very well said and a very respectable hot take. And of course, everybody's hot takes are respectable, guys. Everybody has their own opinions there. It depends on how dicey you're getting into it, because you can have a hot take and say something along the lines of 1 + 1 = 2. Yeah, that's true, but most of these are opinion based and we can all respect that, right? Let's continue on to the next hot take. Chapter 4 is the best chapter Fortnite ever had, the best POIs, a great loot pool, and consistent updates like the heist update and the AOT update. Wilds also wasn't as bad as everyone said it was. Looking back at it, it was a really fun season with an interesting loot pool. I agree with both of those things. And Chapter 4, if you were to sit down and say it was the best Fortnite chapter has ever had, I would not complain about it at all. Chapter 2 is my favorite chapter. I built an amazing amount of memories over there. I played with a ton of friends. I've had more time in my life to play Fortnite, and it had one of my favorite seasons of all time, Chapter 2, Season 7, or excuse me, my favorite season of all time. But Chapter 4, and we just did a tier list video on this, what was the best gameplay-wise? Chapter 4 nailed it. Chapter 4 knocked it out of the park. They did a fantastic job. The POIs are great, loot pool, consistent updates. I loved Chapter 4 with all of my heart, and I agree with this hot take over here. Let's continue on to what Atomic had to say. We should have more collaborations that actually bring something to the game, like the Godzilla and Kong event going right now, unless getting Baymax and not even his flying gear. Yeah, I think the Godzilla update's been great so far. And of course, have the crazy stuff, but it is very important to keep these things separate from competitive. I like that. I agree with that. I love when the collaborations actually get intertwined into the game like this. Muffin Man had this to say: Chapter 6 is boring. I like the battle pass and the collabs have been cool, but the map feels kind of plain and dry, if that makes sense. The loot pool feels off and not right. I wish the map was more bright and colorful and not dry and plain. While I respect the opinion, I actually completely disagree with this one. I love Chapter 6. I don't think it's boring. Excuse me if you could hear my notifications. And sorry, I had to take another pause, actually. I had to make a change of clothes because I'm recording this as my baby fell asleep. My wife's out for a drive with her dad. My baby woke up and she threw up on me. So here I am, change of clothes, like a half hour later. Regardless, let's continue on to the next hot take. Unfortunately, I did disagree with that one. Taboo Dorito had this to say: Chapter 2 Season 2 is the most overrated season of all time. It's not even top 5 of its own chapter. The POIs were mid, Battle Pass was mid, Loot Pool was mid. The only really good stuff were the 2 live events and the Spy LTM. Oh my goodness. Again, all the respect in the world, but Taboo, I need to know what you were smoking, dude. Oh, that is one of the greatest seasons of all time. The POIs are great. The Battle Pass was great. The Loot Pool was great. But I know that Chapter 2 Season 2 does have its own haters. Sorry, guys. Still getting over being sick over here, a little out of breath. But regardless, let's continue on to Lone Jonesy YouTube. Chapter 5 is overhated and is better than Chapter 6. This I also disagree with. Chapter 5 was my personal least favorite chapter of all time, and Chapter 6 has been miles better. And hopefully, there is something to enjoy for Chapter 6 for you. BQ had this to say: Helldivers 2 and No Man's Sky deserve to win over Fortnite in the Game Awards. Now, it depends what award you're talking about. If you're talking about ongoing game, 1000%, I completely disagree with that. But if you're talking about just a Game of the Year or some other award to do with gaming, then I would hear you out on that. Just definitely not best ongoing game. 100%, no way for that one. Let's continue on to what Orr had to say. People that come to Fortnite want the freedom of choice to play what they like and what made them really love the game. Fortnite should do, let's say, Chapter 1 OG until Season 10, and then do a round every 30 minutes. Another season, everyone will have fun. I don't know if this is something that Epic Games would ever be able to implement, but I don't mind the idea. Like, I would definitely have fun playing it, regardless. Like, I enjoy Fortnite. I enjoy most seasons. I just enjoy playing this game, so I would sit down and I would like that. But we have so many more hot takes to get to, you guys. We're just going to stop you for just a second over here. If you have not liked the video or subscribed to the channel, please help me out over here. And again, don't forget to drop your own hot take in the comment section down below. We'll have you featured in the next video, assuming that you're not repeating what somebody else says. Also, we don't just make Fortnite content over here. We make variety content, movie, TV, anime review content. We make MMA content. You can check out any of my other channels in the description to this video down below or on the YouTube homepage. Let's continue on. Thank you for listening to the next hot take. Grumblings from the back had this to say. This community has more demands than gratitude or appreciation for having possibly the best free game ever. Extremely true. 1000%. Fortnite players often don't understand how, and I hate, it's such an overused word, but how privileged they are, how blessed they are to have this game as their game to play, their main game, man. Like, it is beyond phenomenal what Epic Games has done with their work over here, and people don't appreciate nearly it enough, man. Let's continue on to what Chicken Nugget Cat had to say. Chapter 1 was good, but not the best chapter. People just say that because of nostalgia. That's a toughie, because Chapter 1 really, people talk about Chapter 1, and it really was a fantastic time. It was great. Fortnite OG right now is not doing Chapter 1 justice. It was just a better, I don't want to say better, but it was a fantastic time, and if somebody sits down and says Chapter 1's their favorite chapter, I'd be like, I get it, dude. Totally get it. But there are also a ton of people that are flat out blinded by nostalgia. Like the people pretending to like Season 7, the people now pretending to like Season X, It's definitely a mixture of people. I personally don't think that Chapter 1 was the best chapter, but I would have an argument for every chapter other than Chapter 5 to be the best chapter, to be honest with you. But like I said, man, there is a total mixture of people, and everybody likes their own seasons and their own chapters for their own reasons, right? Let's continue on to what Apple45 had to say. I think the metaverse is one of the best things that has happened to Fortnite. I love the newer modes like Festival, Lego Fortnite, Reload, and Ballistic, and if you don't like the newer modes, you can still play Battle Royale, and it's nice to have a variety of modes to play. This is, I would say, it's difficult to not disagree with this one. I definitely agree with it, but now that we know that Battle Royale is not suffering, I have a hard time, understanding the position of other people besides maybe people who are really hardcore into the storyline, which, no problem if you were, right? I have a hard time seeing the other perspective of this because Battle Royale is in a phenomenal state, but these other things are also there for the people who don't want to play Battle Royale. I love the metaverse. I've always loved the metaverse. I've always been a believer in the metaverse, and I'm so happy to see how it's coming out to be. Let's continue on to the next hot take. Them adding overpowered items don't help low skill players in any way. It just makes for a bad experience to everyone. I understand where you're coming from. I get that. I think this is one of those that really, it matters to the individual. Everybody has a different experience playing it because some people who are low skilled have a great time with the overpowered weapons. I like to think I'm pretty good at the game, and I have a ton of fun with the overpowered items. But I do understand the people who have a bad experience with them, whether you're good or not. So again, that one does depend on the individual, like we were talking about with another hot take. Let's continue on to what Megatron had to say. Chapter 4's map was the worst map to play on. Bland POIs, too many hills and jagged cliffs, and the jungle. This I understand, but I disagree with. First of all, the graphics were great, but I don't think that's what you're talking about. Chapter 4's graphics are still my favorite graphics, but I loved the medieval type POIs. I loved the Japanese themed POIs. I loved all of the updates we've gotten throughout Chapter 4. It was one of my favorite maps. I even like the jungle, and I know that's a very unpopular one. I know, but I personally really loved it. But I understand everybody likes their own things, right? Absolutely nothing wrong with that, but this hot take I do disagree with. Agent Draven had this to say, that ever since Donald Mustard stepped away, the creative storytelling is very diluted. Yeah, yeah, that's extremely true. Nothing really we can build off of that one, right? Rem Rants had this to say, Paradise and Wrecked are both top 5 seasons. Wow. That is a hot take. Holy, that's a hot take. This I disagree with. I enjoyed Wrecked for the first little bit, but Paradise, man, I have always thought was one of the most underrated seasons of Fortnite. A lot of people have a bad taste in their mouth because of how it ended, and that, don't get me wrong, completely justified in that, but I thought the flow of the gameplay and the chrome were amazing additions to the game. I really, really loved Paradise, and Wrecked was great at the beginning too, in my opinion. Ballsack shotgun had this to say. Chapter 2 Season 2 was a just above average season, but people hype it up like it's the next big thing since sliced bread. Everyone was starved of content due to the super long and dry Chapter 2 Season 1, and it's also for nostalgia reasons why the season was so hyped. I get that, okay? But at the time, the hype was real. I don't think that people are blinded by nostalgia when it comes to Chapter 2 Season 2. It had a pretty, like, even with the delays, the community was at a pretty healthy state. People were enjoying lockdown, people were enjoying the season, the updates, but if you think it's just above average season, that's totally fine. I personally think it's one of the greatest seasons of all time, and most people think it's one of the greatest seasons of all time, so this one I also personally disagree with, but I respect your opinion. Let's hear what Emmanuel had to say. 2-year chapters are a bad thing for the game. With the recent content schedule, having chapters last 2 years would only make players lose retention for the game. This almost happened with Chapter 2, where people hated it so much they wanted to go back to Chapter 1 even after Season 1. This is something that people oftentimes forget. I think for the people who really, really want 2-year chapters, like for me personally, I would love a 2-year chapter. But the problem is you got to think about Epic Games, you got to think about what's best for them, and you got to think about what is best for the vast majority of the player base and what is going to keep people on. That being a brand new map, a brand new chapter, a brand new overall every single year. I don't think it's necessarily bad for the game if you were to have 2-year chapters, but I definitely think it's better to have 1-year chapters. And I personally would like to see 2-year chapters. So I do agree with this hot take, Emmanuel. Very well said. But we do have, again, more hot takes to take a look at, guys. You guys dropped a ton of them, which I'm very, very appreciative of. But I want to stop you one more time in this video, okay? As I've been making these videos, I have been advertising my supporter creator code a little bit more, and I just want to sit back and say, as you guys know, I recently started a family, and we are looking to even have more children now. So I've been grinding on YouTube with my multiple channels as hard as I possibly can in order to make enough to provide for them. I want my wife and my kids to live the life that my father wore to me when I was a kid, which is the greatest life of all time. So if you do not have a supporter creator code that you were using in the item shop, please consider using my code Clen. Every little bit helps, and you guys have been helping me out more than you could ever know. Thank you very, very much. If you don't want to support me, just make sure you are even just using a code in the item shop. Thank you for listening, guys. Let's get into every other hot take. Icon Queen had this to say. Everyone forgets that Epic is a business first and profits come before anyone's feelings. If they only cater to a specific niche group, OGs, competitive players, exclusivity enjoyers, etc., it would negatively impact their company. This is so true. We talked about it. I think it was in yesterday's video we talked about it, where it's true that everyone does forget that Epic Games is a business first. They don't, and as based as it is to say, they absolutely do not care about anybody's feelings. There are devs that care so much. There are devs that are really passionate about their work, but at the end of the day, the company wants to make money, and that is the most important thing. You got to think about what's healthy for business. And when people talk about like, oh, Epic Games needs to do this, Epic Games should do this, I think they're being a little bit dishonest in saying if they weren't running the company, they would think differently from Epic Games at some point. So I do agree with that hot take completely. Lucky Luke had this to say. Primal was actually peak. It had a live event and a story cinematic. The battle pass had some amazing designs, and I don't care about what anyone said, but the loot pool, map changes, and new mechanics like crafting and wildlife were massive and really gave that Primal vibe. Now, this is a hot take. I am, as you guys have been following this channel, if you have been following this channel, you would know that I am a Primal enjoyer. I loved Primal, but there were things that I didn't like about Primal. I didn't like the makeshift weapons. I didn't like the dependence on crafting, and there were the map changes I didn't really like either. I liked the Spire, but the other POIs were like, eh. There was a lot of things that I didn't care for in Primal, but I loved the gameplay of the bows. I loved using all the different mechanics that the bows brought. I loved the storyline, the skins. The Spire was one of my favorite POIs ever. I wouldn't say that Primal was peak Fortnite, but I am a huge Primal enjoyer, and I absolutely do agree with the majority of this hot take. Let's continue on to another hot take. The game didn't really die after Chapter 4, but the spirit of the game is gone. The game has lost its essence, which is really sad. I'm talking about the art style of the map. I cannot enjoy Chapter 5 because the map was so dark or something. There was no color. I always go back and think about that old Lachlan clip. Where is the color? Or look at the colors. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to look so stupid if you guys don't know what I'm talking about. But I do agree with this in the sense where it did lose that charm that Fortnite did have. It lost that. but Fortnite is still great. That's the problem. But I understand where you're coming from, and I do agree, like, there was something about the magic of Fortnite that isn't present anymore. But hey, who knows? As time goes on, like, look how the metaverse ended up flushing out, right? And it ended up being fantastic. Maybe we'll end up getting that again, especially as OG might continue on, right? Let's continue on to what Kenny had to say. The medallions and bosses, etc. need to go. Talking to characters about the story should put players in a bubble so they can take it they can take it in safely. That's an interesting take. I actually don't know, and comment down below if you think otherwise. Actually, I mean, I would appreciate if you comment down below, but I want to keep most of the comments for more hot takes for more videos like this right now. But I don't agree about the bosses. I like the bosses, but I could do without the medallions. I definitely preferred augments, and I don't think the medallions really add too much. Like, I like the fact that it's one thing that one person can have, but at the same time, and somebody is coming up on me over here. My puppy is bothering me. She knows that I'm about to take her out. Hello. Excuse me, baby. Hey, what do you think about medallions in Fortnite? You want to tell everybody? What do you think about medallions in Fortnite? Hey, what do you think about medallions in Fortnite? It's about time that I take her out and she knows that. Don't lick my ear. Don't lick my ear. What do you think about medallions in Fortnite? You want to tell everybody? Hey? Okay, let's get back into it. I just saw myself through OBS, man, and oh boy. This is not a regular thing for me. You need to take my word. I was just streaming earlier, and I got fresh out of the shower. My hair was wet, slicked back, and I have the headset dent, man. This is not how my head looks. It's my hair. I had wet hair. I swear you have to take my word for it because I understand how stupid that looks, man. That looks dumb, but it's my head is not dented. It's the hair. I put the headset on while I was wet, but let's continue on talking about the bosses, okay, guys? Sorry. I was like, oh boy on that one. But we got a little bit off topic, okay? The medallions, I don't care for. The bosses, I do like. And I'm interested to see what other people think about that because I don't know what the common consensus on that is. Let's continue on to Ray Beanfield. A UEFN game not made by Epic is going to be at the top game over Battle Royale in the next couple years. Ooh. You know, if you had a gun to my head, I would say no, but it would not shock me one little bit if this hot take was correct. I think that there are definitely going to be experiences that rival Battle Royale as time goes on, but I don't know about the next couple years. I'm thinking like maybe 5-ish years, maybe beyond that. At the rate that UEFN's developing right now, man, totally possible. Totally possible. And I can't wait for people to have their own Battle Royale experiences within the game. I cannot wait for the future of this game, man. So that wouldn't shock me. Let's see how that one ages, okay? Mario Master 973 had this to say. Rocket Racing could have been amazing if they just turned it into a Mario Kart-like game with items. So real. So true. It's unfortunate. Fortnite has so many fun, wacky items, and it would have made for a perfect Mario Kart type game. I hope they reconsider that, but it looks like they're just not caring about Rocket Racing anymore at all. Like, it wasn't advertised to be one of those must-succeed modes by Epic, but I don't know, man. As they develop the metaverse, I would imagine they're going to give Rocket Racing another shot. They know that this is what the people would have wanted, right? I don't know. It's unfortunate. It has so much potential. Let's continue on to what the Cobra Kai Ha 1 had to say. Chapter 4 Season 2 is a top 5 season. It had a great map with the Japanese biome in Mega City, arguably the best gameplay of all time, great loot pool, consistent updates, great collabs like AOT, the Star Wars update with the Force abilities, and the Spider-Verse update. So true. I completely agree with this. I just made a tier list talking about this, like ranking seasons gameplay-wise, and Mega absolutely was one of the greatest seasons of all time, in general, but also when it comes to just purely gameplay in general. I completely agree with that. The most fun time, or at least one of the most fun times I've ever had in this game, was playing with the Spider-Verse, AOT, and Force Mythics. Those made for such a fun experience in Fortnite. I so agree with this hot take, man. Let's continue on to A Lot to Emo 8. For me, it looks like they're trying to maintain older and newer players, but aren't doing it right. They need to pick a certain demographic, in my opinion, because they have way too many things in the collabs that mismatch with each other, and every time you just want to relax, you can't. This one I disagree with. Fortnite has proven that it could be a game for all ages, and I think it is extending to actually become that. You see kids play Fortnite, you see adults play Fortnite, you see teenagers play Fortnite. I like the fact that they have collabs reaching out to everybody and different gameplay elements that reach out to everybody, and I think they're actually doing a really, really good job doing so. This hot take, I do disagree with. Let's continue on to Mattias. Bullet drop should have never been removed from the game and should have stayed in all the new weapons, but only depending if the gun itself has a red dot. If you remove the red dot, the shift of the weapon would go back to being hit skin. It's as simple as that. That's an interesting idea. That is very, very interesting. To have hit skin and bullet drop like kind of with the same gun. I would try it, but as long as the vast majority of weapons are still hit scan. The base loot pool has hit scan within Fortnite. I think the vast majority of the player base would agree with that, and I need my hit scan. I'm done with the chapter 5 stuff, but I wouldn't mind it if there were some weapons here and there that did have bullet drop, because we have that with things like the DMR or the sniper. Sometimes with weapons it does work out. Let's continue on to what TMGG Rift had to say. The storyline was never good. Wow, I disagree with that. That is a hot take, and I completely disagree with that one. Donald Mustard's storytelling was one of the most unique and well-developed things that took place over years that I have ever had the privilege of experiencing. Are there greater stories than Fortnite? Absolutely, 1000%. But to say the storyline was never good, that I think is completely false. Let's continue on to Cam Talks Fortnite. Casuals are the reason OG has bought. Casuals low-key ruined OG. Yeah, they might be. But it is more of the blame of Epic Games, because I don't remember a lot of people screaming for bots, right? You see a lot more hate for bots online than not. But I don't know. That's an interesting one. That is an interesting one. Casuals might have low-key ruined OG, but it is on the side of Epic Games. But guys, there are so many more hot takes for us to take a look at. You can watch them in this video. We made a video a while ago talking about everybody's hot takes. If you want to hear more hot takes, check out this video. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Take care.